Hey guys, Mr. Gron here with another challenge video for 8-3 Day 2, so adding and subtracting. Now, these two problems I'm going to go through actually aren't that challenging, but they can be made a lot easier if you know a little trick, and it's one that I think I covered in the factoring review challenge, so let's take a look at them. Okay, so looking at this, it looks fairly innocent. We've got a difference of squares that can factor here to make the common denominator. But then we've got the we're used to seeing this as like x minus 2 instead. So it's like the signs have been flipped around. They're kind of out of order. So when we factor this, I'm going to do a couple of little tricks here. Now this one is, again, just, basic difference of squares factoring, so x squared plus 4 over x plus 2, x minus 2. For the second part, though, I'm going to rearrange things and then factor out a GCF. So I can take this 2 minus x and I can rearrange the order and make it minus x plus 2. Now that, right as it stands, does not match one of these factors. So one way to approach this problem would be it doesn't appear that there's any matching factors, so I can multiply the entire thing, x squared minus 4, top and bottom on this side, and then 2 minus x, or negative x plus 2, top and bottom here. But that's more work than we need to do, because if I factor out that negative, a negative 1, I would make it negative x minus 2. And now I do have a factor that is common with this side. And there's one other little piece with this negative that's going to be handy and make this subtraction a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm going to use this version and replace my denominator over here, so negative x minus 2. Now, let's think about that negative value, or that negative that's out in front here. Does it matter if this negative is in the denominator, or would it be the same thing if I moved it to the numerator? Like if I got rid of it there and I moved it here. Well, let's think. Let's say I had a number like 1/3, right? How about negative 1/3? Would that be any different? Does that equal negative 1 over positive 3? And does that equal positive 1 over negative 3? And the answer is yes. These are all equivalent things. It doesn't matter where that negative sign is. It can be moved at any point. As long as there's just one negative, or and actually in reality an odd number of negative symbols attached somewhere in this fraction. And so anyway, long story longer, what we can do is we can take that negative symbol, we can move it from there and move it right in front here, and now think about like what happens when you subtract a negative. Well, it changes it to a plus. So now it's gotten a little bit easier because we were able to change a subtraction, which is just slightly harder than addition. There's one more step to it. We've changed it to an addition problem. Okay, so we need to multiply our x plus 2 over here to get a matching denominator, a common denominator. And then then it's really no different than the problems we've been doing in class. So x squared plus 4 plus, when I distribute the x in here, will be x squared plus 2x all over x plus 2, x minus 2. And that's going to give us 2x squared plus 2x plus 4 all over x plus 2, x minus 2. And we could factor GCF out of the top, but it doesn't really do anything for us because we're not going to be able to cancel anything from the bottom anyway. So we'll just leave it, and x cannot equal positive or negative 2 from the plus 2 and the minus 2. All right, so this one has a similar trick to it. So pause if you want, and then give it a shot. Okay, so let's start factoring. Oops, let's get the right marker and then start factoring. Okay, so the top, I'm not going to factor the top. I could take a GCF out here, but I know it's not going to lead anywhere, so I'm going to leave it as is. The bottom here will factor to minus 4 plus 3. And this whole like negative x, 4 minus x instead of an x minus 4, that's a really common sneaky little thing that ends up in math textbooks. So you'll see that from time to time if you take some more math classes after this one. Oops. So we'll make that the negative x minus 4, and that will change this to a plus. All right, then we are missing the x plus 3 from the other side, so we'll multiply top and bottom, remembering that we can do that because x plus 3 over x plus 3 is 1. And so now we will get 2x minus 2 plus, distribute the 3 in, 3x plus 9 all over x minus 4, x minus 3. And that will simplify to 5x plus 7 over x minus 4x minus plus 3. Oops. Where x cannot equal a positive 4 or a negative 3.